Smoly, that is not what I expected. And I'm just like, this is how you make one this is how you make one assembler. It's clean, it's nice, it's beautiful. You know what they say, if you can't take the heat, why did you come to a volcano planet? But here we are, Automation Nation, potentially our last day here on Vulcanus, at least in the flesh. We have plenty of potential to expand this while we are away through the use of robotics and remote commands, but for right now, we are going to be just trying to wrap things up here with our rocket silos, all gearing up to start setting up the science, the foundries, the big mining drills, maybe some tungsten, and we can kind of make things happen from there. So definitely a few changes that we want to make happen in order to really make sure that we're staying on top of things. One thing I'm noticing here is that our light oil is significantly decreased thanks to our implementation of the solid fuel and the rocket fuel as a whole. That is about to hit capacity, so as far as like how much we're holding on to on the belts, so potentially that will resolve itself, but I think there's no reason not to try to expand a little bit, put some beacons down, and try to flesh that side of things out a little bit. Another thing that I was thinking about, maybe moving some power around, getting that out of the way so we can expand in other areas, but yeah, making sure that basically we're getting all of our key ingredients flowing nicely, which leads me to our first project here, the sulfuric acid line. The pipes are empty. The storage tanks are gone. It seems like it does have like a bare minimum, so we might not be drawing so much that we can't like do anything with it. But yeah, I think we need to definitely enhance this where we can. So yeah, the big thing would be to go ahead and drop down some more pipage since we do have 10 in our inventory. Of course, there is another node that we can tap into later, but we need some cliff explosives to really feel like we're not going across the wasteland to try to get that. In the meantime, there are a few more nodes to tap here that we're going to go ahead and address. Just double checking. Paranoia sets in that whenever I place a building on the outskirts, that there might be some territorial worm monsters nearby. Don't know why that would cause any concern, but you know, just in case. And that should do it for setting everything up. As far as the actual buildings go, then we just want to go ahead and connect everything through the pipelines where we can. Looks like we need one more power unit here. We'll be good to go. Cool. Then running this along the front, presumably. And away we go. From there, yeah, I like this line here, nice and clean. And then bringing it all the way up to here, or just slightly off, but that's fine. Alrighty, with one more substation, we will be good to go here with hopefully a good consistent pump. Now, of course, it is going to be lowering this combined yield percent, which is going to over time decrease what we're able to pull. But, you know, for right now, at least we're at a storage level. And like I said, we can tap into a couple of different, I thought I scouted more than one, but for right now, I'm only quick scan is, yeah, showing there's like okay, that's not a lot of pump nodes, but 37,000% is quite the yield. So that's gonna help a lot. Sure, there's a lot of stuff that we can tap into later, but right now we're pretty good in the area that we have, and I don't really feel the need to create this sprawling expanse unless we really get into lava foundry works, which will be still mostly driven by calcite and power more than anything. But we'll see. This guy's not working. He doesn't have tungsten carbide available, which usually would be coming in on this belt. And so you have to wonder what's got this one held up. It's the tungsten ore itself. Now we're not boxing the plates at all, right? They're just chilling here on the line, which means that there's no waste, regardless of how this splitter is distributing things. But it does seem like we are lacking a little bit. Of course, we don't have robotics connection up there, so we can't really get a radar and see what's going on. But at the end of the day, I don't think we need like a full line's worth of materials. This is still on sometimes, and if you look back at our metallurgic factory planner, you can see that you only need 2.67 tungsten carbide, so we would rather this be on majority of the time, 2/3 of the time, but you know, if we don't have the ore, then maybe we do need to do a little expansion there. We'll check it out soon, but for now this is going okay. I want to hit the petroleum up first, because plastic line is doing okay. Sometimes you're seeing, though, several of our red circuit crafters, especially towards the bottom. All of these, for example, are completely offline. So we're going to go ahead and address that first. And the best way to do that, I think, is by actually creating a gap here so we can get a better light oil production from these. Of course, you can always just expand the quantity as well. You can always just bring it down, but I was thinking about using a little bit more on the beacon side and see if that helps at all. So what I'm going to be doing instead is I'll leave the storage tank, but I'll bring everything else, I believe, down a bit. I'd have to restructure the power poles here in a moment, but 1, 2, 3 will give us enough space for a beacon in between, assuming that we place all the underground pipes in the proper arrangement. Of course, this does mean that we'll need a... It looks like we... maybe we can run this through here. That's not too bad. It won't clash at that particular location. But we are going to need our light oil to, you know, do its thing. So this was the water line previously. And we can either... I can't really do it straight down because of connection limitations, but I think this will be fine. And then, yeah, we can fit beacons in here now, which is great, because this can hit multiple. We'll be speeding up the light oil and the petroleum combined together, which I think can only be a good thing, theoretically. We'll have to see, though. Don't have that many speed module 2s. We can power 14 of these things, so I'm just going to allocate right now 6 and see if that helps with our light oil thing. Again, we are about to hit you know, critical mass or threshold for the rocket fuel, and it's going to start slowing down its consumption. But I like the fact that we are going to be able to make sure we get a good amount of petrol working, a good amount of light oil coming in. That's pretty important regardless. So we'll see how it goes. Looks like it might even be pulling down the heavy oil a little bit. Not much fluctuation, but gradually, yeah, it is taking a little bit more than it's able to provide as well. But we'll keep an eye out for it. Anywho, is this? Yeah, maybe this is excessive. It's, you know, it's just a bit of extra power at the end of the day. So I don't want to. That's too much of a ruckus for something that we can work around in other ways, but I think it's okay. Maybe we'll take off, like, because this isn't even, this is going off the edge of what the light oil is. We can always expand that side of it as well. I'd say right now, based on what we see, but see, even now the light oil is not coming through. Again, these are about to stop, but what if, you know, we're building rockets nonstop? Then we still want it to be able to function, right? So maybe it is just an expansion issue, a quantity of pieces that we just need to make work. And we have the means to do that, so let's go ahead and try it. Bam, bam, bam. And then, obviously, we would then have to move up by 2, the heavy oil. Not necessarily at this particular moment, but very soon. Yeah, it would have to, by this point, run through here. And that's fine, I think. Well, so those are all in line. Those are all functional. You know, productivity modules is also a thing you can be doing, but I think as it is, it's pretty fine. Crunch some light oil. Still, though. hard to impress here. Maybe we do want more of this. Light oil, please stock up. At least it's a little bit easier to make this work here if we needed to. And this is why, again, that we wanted a whole brand new setup. Instead of like trying to cram more and more and more stuff into like a weird spot like this, we said, okay, we need something that can just move. And this is all the way up to the cliff at this point. So, well, this for the foundries, sorry, for the refineries. So theoretically, I mean, if I had to, I could just, you know, make a few more chemical plants and then, you know, drop something along these lines here. And that obviously would be a big throughput increase, but let's see here. We still need the heavy oil to come down, so we'll do it this way. Okay, and that's 3 more online. So light oil finally does what we need it to. Curious if, you know, we, for example, dropped this into 3 slots and we ended up consuming a bit more of this stuff, if that would still be the case or not. We will see soon. Oh, see, another problem is, of course, notice we were consuming more heavy oil. We're not boosting that with beacons. They do take up a lot more space, and as we have our current setup, aren't as scalable, and we don't have refineries in inventory. So there's a number of reasons why we're not actually going to be able to get as much juice out of these things. Hopefully we can just speed it up and then compensate for power elsewhere. I'm going to go ahead and say that, and I mean, it seems almost sufficient to have beacons in between them where possible. Obviously it's not as clean, but you know, if you have 5 spaces in between, you could hit twice as many with the beacons, right? There's lots of ways to make it work. For right now, we're just going to go for one of the more basic solutions, which is bam, bam, and hope for the best there. Now, as far as how many blues I have left, it looks like I've consumed most of them, right? 6 more speed modules. We'll have to see if we can kind of balance things out soon. Yeah, now it's like, okay, well, what's the point of all this extra that we put in if it's not going to have the ingredients to make it work? So we'll just, you know, I guess we'll go ahead and move this one here. It's hitting more items if it's in the central position. But other than that, we're good on light oil. We're now making heavy oil happen. Ingredients issue? Coal. Okay. And that would be, yeah, so it's you know, it's one bottleneck after another. You can, you know, double the throughput of one single item, and then you're like, well, wait a second, what about the rest? And right now you see we have a blue belt of coal. Once it gets more compressed, more fully utilized, we bring it down to a red bolt. Did I say red bolt? Red belt? And then it's just empty by the time it gets over here. So, you know, we have a good amount coming in, but there's a lot of this patch that we haven't tapped into. So if we need to, we've got the big mining drills, and we can go ahead and just do more of the same, I'd say. Pretty big yield there, and like, you know, we've mentioned before, yeah, we can adjust as needed, so. I'll go ahead and bring in a bit more blue line to make this go as far as it can with what it needs. I'm curious. It shouldn't need any more blue than that. No way. And then, yeah, this one was out, so we'll have to scrap that one, which is going to be put in storage instead. Still a little short, though. We're wondering if it's just not enough. Yeah, like it's... Well, these aren't stopping at all. It's interesting. Okay, 30 item, 45. If these were slowing down at all, Like, these aren't actually doing anything because the belt is full. Maybe this is like a slowed down version of the belt, so I'm just not seeing clearly. Because this is fully compacted at this point. Is a full blue belt not enough to power all our heavy oil needs? In that case, probably the solution would be something more like this, right? Activity modules. So we give plenty of productivity to each of them, and hopefully that means they're consuming less coal, which means it'll get to the end of the line. That's the idea anyways. But productivity modules don't seem to actually reduce the amount that you're consuming. What they do is they give this purple line here, which gives you a bonus output after you've done enough of it. Which, yeah, again, means that this is still going to be consuming the same amount of coal and is not necessarily reaching the end. Interesting. All this to say, heavy oil is back up, but yeah, there's a lot of little fluctuations you gotta kind of maintain here. All right, we'll just leave it as is for now, but I do think that whether it's like multi-belt, like a multiple coal belts going through, might end up needing to be part of what we're working on. I mean, obviously we're not using this full blue line, so we could, you know, upgrade here and then do a split here and then do a red belt that like resupplies over this area. That would be fine. Again, it looks completely unnecessary when we hit the when we are flush with ingredients, but as soon as it runs dry, we're going to need to do something like this. And so what you want to kind of do instead is more like this. And that way, half the ingredients will come from the overflow and the other half will come from there, and theoretically it all works out. All right, so sulfuric acid should be good now. Is that right? Good. Does that help? And that helps our... And the ore is coming through for this, except for this guy. So I guess that's our next thing, is expanding on that a little bit. Can we make a robotics connection? I have 21. It's definitely possible. Not ideal. Petroleum. What gives with the petroleum? I'm sure it's something I messed up when I was placing and expanding, but I didn't really mess with it much, but apparently I messed with it enough. Huh. I don't know how this ended up the way it did, but we're gonna go ahead and fix it. Oh, I moved everything down by 3. That's obvious. Okay. So it wasn't like that before, which is good. Good to know. All right, so plastic should now be pumping. It is. It's great. It's wonderful. Yeah, because I always thought of productivity modules as being more efficient, and they are. You need less, input materials to make the same amount, but it doesn't actually reduce the amount that it takes in. It just kind of gives you a little bit of a bonus output every once in a while, which is in many ways the same, but in logistically different. Alrighty. Well, it's kind of a longer run around here, but I do believe attaching logistics to this area seems a bit unnecessary. We're going to check in with the orbiter real quick. All right. I'm glad that we got that figured out where it's not too time consuming to fill that all up. But yeah, as far as robo stuff goes, doing that now rather than later has its advantages, has its disadvantages. End of the day, we could do something like this. It's in the power range. It's great. And then we'll go from there. Come on, little dude. We got places to be. Imagine being a little robot drone just designed to work within this little square structure, and then you suddenly get put into a cargo container and shot off to another planet. I'm just saying, even for a robot, that's got to be a little disorienting. Different gravity, different heat signatures. It's just not the same. Robots writing little postcards to the ones that were created in the same assembly line as them. They consider their brothers. There's a whole robo-fiction you can create there, I'm sure. Sure already has been done. This is a big community. Factory grows every day. Speaking of growth, it's been great to see more interest in the channel over time. It's been really cool to see new faces, and yeah, if you guys want to continue to see more of the content, I highly suggest that you hit the subscribe button down below, throw a like on the video. That'll help that algorithm show you more of this stuff. And of course, yeah, I look forward to reading comments as well. Like, all your comments up to this point have been very fun. Sometimes, you know, everybody has a different opinion on like what's the best way to go about things, but everybody that I've talked to has just been super chill, super cool, and super helpful. So it's nice to see. It's nice that I walked all the way back up here just to fail to bring any big mining drills, but that's what the robots are for, right? If we get the roboport in place, one more, maybe not in the middle of the patch, but you know, in the vicinity. That looks good to me. And a couple more of these. Cool. Then we should be able to just, you know, tell the robots to do it next time, as we now have radar. Yeah, Factorio grows in many ways, many places, many planets. And I'm curious what planet we'll end up hitting up next, because, you know, we're heading back to Novice. There's definitely some cleanup that I want to do there, but, you know, in a couple episodes, we're going to be off to our next destination. My first instinct is to think about the ice planet, because my biggest thing that I still haven't really figured out how to resolve is the water situation for our fuel. You know, these thruster fuels, thruster oxidizers requires a large amount of water. I did the barreling thing for a bit, but I don't think that's a great long-term solution. Maybe I just wasn't taking enough advantage of the asteroid chunks, and that'll be resolved by itself, but I really can't tell you. I don't know. So we'll see. As far as this goes, since we do have, at least over by the rocket silos, we have some big mining drills. We should be able to expand on this a little bit right here. Do not build on lava. Don't step on lava. Oh, do you guys see? Apparently that's lava. Well, which means I can't actually build a belt here either, which is, you know, not ideal. So since we can't do much about that, we can always just sweep this back around. Bam, bam, bam. And go from there. Now, so one of those comments that I saw on the channel, one interesting thing is apparently when I got absolutely obliterated by that devourer, there's a number of things that happened that caused that to be the case when it really didn't need to be. Remember, this was entirely empty. This was entirely clear. We just had like a little radar that was too far in. We didn't have any of these turrets or anything. If he had just killed that radar that was in his territory, he would have done a little loop, maybe killed like 20 more buildings, but then he would have been gone. He'd been like, yep, did my job. My space is clear. I'm good. I'm out. But apparently, doesn't like getting shot at, and he will follow you to the ends of the earth after that happens. And that set us up for an interesting situation. But you know, as it is, it was a fun experience, and I wouldn't trade it, regardless of the consequences. Alrighty. So, plastic production is better. Our advanced circuits are flush and beautiful. Apparently we're doing a little bit more productivity moduling over here, so we'll do that. Yeah, you get more value out of the materials. I think a better way to put it for productivity module. It's not more efficient in terms of consuming less, it's just more value out, which is good. There's that full plastic line we like to see. The bus is looking good. Don't know why the copper's just doing that, but we'll fix it and we're happy. Okay, so fluids are good. All the fluids. Our tungsten should be coming in more cleanly shortly. We can always do like a balancer if we're feeling like it's a little skewed, but as is, it looks fine. Why are you... Now you're not getting enough of these because the coal isn't coming in as much as you want. What's going on with the coal? Is it the same line that we were using before? I imagine. So we're actually consuming so much. Can we priority left? Output priority left. And then whatever's left over will go to the right. And that way, once this fills up, back the other way, we'll have good clean carbon going out, and this will... Also, I probably should put... Well, I was going to put a splitter here that does the priority of, like, use this line first, but because we did it this way, it's more so just doing kind of a 50-50 here. So maybe we want to be using a splitter instead. Let's try that. And we'll say input priority right, and then it can come onto here. I think that's probably our best option for right now. It will not be like a left-right balance for the different halves or whatever, but not the end of the world. All right, keep it flowing. So what else do we need here? I want to automate the boxes so that we have, you know, red, blue, green chests that we can mess around with as needed. So for that, we're going to need steel, circuits, yeah, both kinds of circuits and steel. That's it. Well, that's not too hard. We've got all that right here. So bring it along, bring it along. Can't wait to come back here and blow up all the cliffs. That's all that I want. That's what we dream about. Death to the cliffs. And they, I mean, like, everybody already felt like pretty hateful towards the cliffs, even with the early cliff explosive setup. But now, now that they've deprived us of cliff explosives for so much longer in the game, man, I think that it's gonna be like such a huge thing for people, the other people playing through, that they're gonna be like, okay, well, the cliffs are the enemy, not the biters, not the destroyers, it's the cliffs. Once you get there, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so I had a setup before where it was just like steel feeding into one. I'm wondering if I could do steel feeding into multiple. Like, directly is what I meant. So let's say we went here with it. And then we kind of brought these together. Yeah, that's good. So we do this. And then we kind of do a wraparound thing, or at least like an underground belt thing here. Because at the end of the day, they're just going into red chests, regardless. And that would work if we just had a bit more distance on it. Because we don't, we can always do the blue undergrounds, and that'll be fine. Not for throughput, but just for range. So we plug it in, we say feed to here, 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 1/3 of them will go to each. And then we can, yeah, grab from each of these. So that'll allow us to make red, yellow, And green. Do we want blues? A bit more difficult there if that's the case. Again, we could just do, because this is max range, right? Yeah, so we could just do one of these and just kind of follow the same logic. It's a cute little pattern. Definitely not like the best you can do, but I mean, funny thing is, it's like it's practically no, it's not necessary to do that. We'll just do this. And then a red here. Boom. Blues. All right. So now we get to put this in wherever appropriate. And red box everything. Get some logistics over here for the robotics. And we're living the dream. Looks like this is kind of overlapping where it would be, ideally. But there's also these green chips that we wouldn't be able to work around anyway, so. Couple solutions to that. Either we move everything a little bit to the left. Yeah, I kind of like just not hugging the bus too much. So first things first, I'm gonna do this. Up and over here. You know, there's one thing about being like space conscious, and there's one thing about being like just obnoxious for your future self. So we'll respect our future self. We'll work around it. This should be taken care of. Power should be restored. Novice should be losing health bars on its machine gun turret because of reasons. Let's go ahead and just, well, there's no power there. There are small electric poles. Powerful things. All right. What was I doing? I don't know about this one. Oh, that would be for the steel itself, wouldn't it be? All right. So let's go ahead and just bring all this stuff in. More so over here. Okay. Same thing. Just in a better position so that we don't drive ourselves crazy. And we can even fit it that robo that we were talking about. Nice and clean instead of awkward and bad. Cool. And that's in power. This will be in power. Good enough for me. And this guy technically should be bulk inserter. Should really make it work. Or why do we do this? Why don't we just do a red from here, right? Boom. Beautiful. It's perfect. All right, and then yeah, this guy will be putting in a red box, red box, red box. And now we have all the different chests that we would need. I'm sure there's uses for the active provider chest, but I haven't really seen benefit over the passive provider chest in the way that I choose to route things. I think, you know, active provider is basically like, get it out of here. Find any chest that will take this, get it away. And that's good for like, I don't know, basically a full unload. But I like to just kind of have them in the system and then pull them to where they need to go. To each his own. Does this interfere with my fluids? You can always just do something like this. And by that I mean this. And everything's fine. Speaking of, we'll want to continue our line here. Isn't red fine though? Now that we're not doing the nonsense, maybe? We're always doing the nonsense. Who am I kidding? All right. So that's in the system. Looking good. Well, is there anything else that we need to expand? We have substations in the system. We have a lot of roboports. Maybe too many. Let's, you know, as much as I love the idea of just being like, bam, Control C, Control V. If I'm utilizing 250 robos in a very short span of time, then we're just playing a different game. I'm not Mega Factory mode here. I don't know. I did want to know about the construction bots and logistic bots we've worked on recently. Just make sure that they're good to go. Yeah, so I did split it up evenly. It does require a little bit more from here. I'd like to upgrade this to a level 3. When I get the opportunity. And then I think speed modules, honestly, I'm not really worried about the ingredients quantity. I just want to bring the speed, get more in the system in general. And I think it'll work out pretty well. As long as this. So 0.07 out, 0.13 in. So that's not a good ratio, guys. If you see, it's basically requesting double the amount. So if we pull all these, you'll see 0.07, 0.06. Pretty good. So if I turn these both into yellows and I put full speed modules into both, then you're probably seeing more what you want, which is 0.27 out, 0.13 in. Interesting. That's because, oh, it was 0.06 with the level 3. So just by getting the level 3 upgrade, you're already getting some good stuff here. 0.2, 0.13. This will be good. One single speed module going out. And then, yeah, this will be doing better on the robotic side. More fluctuation thanks to all the beacons and modules and other electrical expenses. Meaning we're going to need to expand on our solar once more. Greens are not looking great in terms of output because they are lacking in terms of iron plates. Did not think we'd have an iron plate shortage, but it is one thing that we haven't really supported recently, so it's quite understandable that that would be the case. We do have a line here of molten iron, and the beauty of the molten is that you can just kind of inject what you need. So I would say we need to find a good spot for it, but otherwise we'd be happy to put some molten iron into iron plates and put them on a line. Thing is, I'd rather it be like, okay, it's right here is when it's coming in. So anything up to this point would be a good injection, allowing it to kind of fully saturate. Interesting, okay. In theory, you could do something like that. I'm not sure that's the best. Could do something over here. This is south of the coal line, so I could see that being very functional, actually. Let's do that. So just south of the coal line, there is some extra space. We're going to utilize it for some iron. So I think this will work okay. Yeah, let's do it. I'm in map mode. All right, there we go. Let's just see if we could just kind of run this line. Oop, thought I was one further south, I guess, but that's not really possible anyways. If we do one of these as an underground belt, then we can run through here up to a point. Good. All right. And now we can do the copper or the iron resupply with foundries that we would normally have, but unfortunately we just have to pull from the systems in place. The logistics network, and hope for the best. As far as I recall, it shouldn't be anything but molten iron, so I think we can just run it along the line here. And I don't see any problem with that. If that's the case, we could then say we don't have any laser turrets anywhere nearby. And then we can cry. This is an old setup too. Just 2 million coal still there though. All the laser turrets are up here. They're doing dandy. Just hanging out. Eating some snacks, some electric snacks. Having some megabytes. Get it? Okay. But yeah, no, we they got past these lasers. 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 They're here. Whatever. It'll figure itself out, right? And then last, we'll put in some stuff here. These lasers drop down, and problem solved. Beautiful. Alrighty, as we were saying, we're going to go ahead and do this. This is now iron plate. I thought I somehow messed with the devourers again. I was going to be surprised and upset, but you know, it's just spider things. Yeah, that's fine. Quantity-wise, I'm not sure, so I'm just going to go ahead and say here. And I do want to go ahead and do a balancer here, just to make sure. And then underground for plastic. No, we'll want it up top there. Okay. Just a little bit higher, further north. Cool. All right, so that'll help. I guess we can do blue here. Just a little bit like this blue, and this. And then, you know, the outputs will spread it out from there. It's all good. That'll help get our greens back up to snuff, and everything should be back online there. Okay. Iron is looking a lot better. How many irons did we have make before? Because I don't feel like it was that many. Maybe like 6. 5 and 6, 7, 8. Okay. So we had 8 before. Ends up turning out none of these are yellow dots, which means we're using it all. But adding in another 50% will get us the rest of the way there. Yeah, we always have the option, of course, as well to, you know, bring this one more time over. And I don't really see a reason not to here. So we'll go ahead and do that. I like to do this, and then this, along with liquid action here. And I think we're good to go from there. Okay. So, good on raw materials from what I can tell. Looks like steel production went down a bit, but I think we have enough to make it through since we're not really... Oh, these boxes are going to be way too oversupplied if we do anything. Yeah, let's just cap it at whatever it's currently at. Honestly, we don't even need a stack, so let's just, yeah, do this all the way through. And there we go. Okay, so we are creating assembling machine 3s. We are creating modules. We are creating all the crates. We are creating all the raw materials are looking good. Our supply of rocket parts is looking good. We are making accumulators, and but by the way, we should probably do that little expansion there that we were talking about where possible. Let's see, it's so if we do just one, that's one on top, this has one on top. Okay, then maybe that's fine, maybe that just all works. The only issue being moving one of these substations, but otherwise it's good. Cool. And we'll copy paste this, but we won't be doing an override because we are worried about the Roboport. What is this? I guess I don't have radar vision on it, but let's go ahead and pop this bad boy on so I don't have to look at the yellow angry signals. A little awkward, whatever's going on here with the power grid, but that's fine. So what is going on over here? Is this just kind of an arbitrary line? It's fine, I guess, as long as it's not too deep. Get some more information this way. And yeah, now that it kind of widens out here, you could even theoretically do some over this way. Let's say that we did the exact same thing, but we didn't replicate one substation worth. So let's line that up where it's nice and neat. There it is. Is that what we want to do? Yeah, I don't see why not. Bam, bam, bam. Copy, paste, large scale robotics is amazing. Now, our roboports might not be in range of this, but again, that's a relatively easy fix. Yeah, you'll see they just need to fit in a little better. I assume. Honestly, I'm proud of myself right there. That was the very first time that I didn't panic from a random robot taking damage on Vulcanus. That we've learned, we've grown, we recognize the real threats and the fake ones. And not even for a moment was I genuinely concerned about that one robot on fire on Vulcanus. That's some real progress, honestly. All right, so that should definitely cover our power issues. And hopefully we have in logistics the right amount of solar panels, 32 more solar panels, and plenty of accumulators to make that happen. Substations as well, doing okay at 149. Cool. So solar panels might take a little bit to make, but they'll get there. In the meantime, are we good? Are we done? I mean, yeah, there's the concrete. I can lay a little bit more out here. Not that much point other than beautification when, well, I'm not going to be walking on it because I'm not going to be here. But beautification is something we value. So let's start here. And then not minding the hazard concrete there. That should be good. For now, I really don't have a good gauge of how much we consume to lay that all out, so I'm not going to overdo it and just have a bunch of question marks living around for forever. Missing repair packs. That's probably mine. Oh, I have some in inventory, so I guess I can create a repair pack automation, you know. It's the little things, it's the little things. Iron gear wheel, electronic circuit. Surely we just have those pieces lying around somewhere, right? This looks like that. Yeah, right here. Not a robo nearby. Kind of nearby. Alright, so what you do is you're gonna go like this, this, this. You bring it over here. You twist it, you bring it over here. You put a little guy here. Input, output, repair packs. Bam. Everybody's happy. What happened here? Alrighty. Well, I assume we want to put down a cargo landing pad for deliveries to this surface as well. We just need 200 concrete, which is somewhere. Supposedly up here. That's half of it. Let's need a little bit more. We'll clear out our inventory in the meantime while we wait for that to get produced. Man, that builds fast. That's nice, actually. All right, you can have that back. We have the other 200 ready to go as we make our cargo landing pad greater than or equal to 1 meter per second. So that's means don't put the cargo landing pad in space. That's not where it goes, which is fair. Where do we want our cargo to land? I mean, in theory, you could say buy the rocket stuff. But in actuality, I actually think we want it to be like here, just for a good special delivery cliff explosives. Not to say I can't just make cliff explosives here once the recipe is completed, but, you know. Let's go ahead and say this going east is a good place for cargo. Sure. All right, that's for the future. It won't matter for a while. But everything else, I feel like I'm in okay position. Now, what happened to all of our random things from the orbiter? We have 6 thrusters still in and available. These are all of our asteroid collectors. And this whole system is, you know, it's good. It's just not optimized in a lot of ways. There's lots of improvements I want to make on this, but I just want to get home. I just want to get to Novice. So I think we're going to do that first and foremost. All right. These are, you might see like a lot of nitpicking here, but this is kind of my last, I'm planning as soon as I finish whatever I'm doing right now to leave this planet for good, for a good while at least. And, yeah, you know, you want to make sure you lay the groundwork for successful time even when you're not around. So maybe some sentiment even. I probably want to bring up a lot of red magazines. So I believe deliver cargo, it's time. Let's start launching. We're not using rocket capacity there. And we very quickly filled it up with this. All right, so yeah, I want to request here, automatic request from space platforms. Request supplies from the local logistic network to fulfill requests from the space platform's orbit. And if it doesn't match it, cannot manually insert cargo. Okay. Interesting. So up top, we need to be requesting some things. So the best thing I can do really right now is say, okay, when I'm on Novice, these are the things that I want. And, you know, some of that will be temporary, just specific to what we're doing right now. Let's see, we have 1,000 here. Let's make it 3,000. We want a lot of red magazines. Probably 2,000. You can always, yeah, it's very easy to have too little in terms of magazines. I don't think they take a lot of cargo space either. 50. Okay, so 2,000. That's not like 40 rockets, is it? Jeez, guys, why are magazines so heavy? I mean, it's like, oh, you could make them up top. No, you can't. You really can't. I mean, what, are we going to craft steel up here? Like, all right, let's take a look at it. Copper, steel. You can't get copper up here. You just can't. I'm trying to make it work, but fact is, it's just tough. So maybe not enough to fill one rocket. You can also do like a custom minimum payload. So it's basically saying like, oh, I'm only gonna. It's inefficient to like send a quarter of a shipment. Like fill up a quarter of a rocket for this shipment. So I'm not gonna do that. It's basically what it defaults to, which is fine or whatever. We can send up some of our turrets. We like those. You know, that's easy. That rocket capacity 50. It basically says a gun turret is as heavy as its ammo clip, which is just a little much. That's okay. You want 100 of them? No, just 50's fine. Oh, import from Vulcanus. I think I might have messed that part up. Let's see here. No, that's good. That's not. Okay. No rocket styles accepting automatic requests from space platforms. Well, we're working on that. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. All right. And then it'll just start launching random stuff in orbit, which is great. All right. What else do we want to request? We want to request some of these big mining drills. So tungsten processing, I'll have to look at if it's actually able to be done off planet, and if I just want to bring any raw tungsten, or if I just want to pre-process everything. I think that'll become more important when I get into like higher qualities, because those will require, you know, if I'm trying to make a legendary tungsten item, then I might be handicapped based on what I have available on Vulcanus. I know I just need to send the raw stuff up if that's viable, but for right now, I want to be sending the mining drills and the foundries. So we'll go ahead and say 60 foundries. Was complaining about that. Okay, there it is. No problems. Okay. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to be making a lot more trips than this, so we don't have to bring it all in one go. The whole idea is to set up it as a network, but it just is easier for me to make sure that I get at least the minimum of orange science over. Alright, and the last thing would be, theoretically, big mining drills. Which I think I need even more than foundries. I'll do 100. Okay. And then I'm curious how many rockets it's actually going to take and how long it's going to take to fill all those rockets. And if we're going to have a good amount of materials for that. We'll learn soon enough. It's kind of cool to see, though. Just pew, pew, pew. Can you see the ones that are, like, flying in visually, or... I think it just turns into, like, a drop pod thingy, right? It's not like a full rocket. Yeah, it's like that. Okay. No big deal. It's useful in its own right. Solar panels still taking a while to fill in, but like I said, power is going to be much better. Surprisingly, still needing some help, but it'll get there. And then now you'll notice actually that it's sitting at what would be the peak power available in the system. What is it? Accumulator charge, yeah, 9.8. Because it's hitting 9.8, or it's hitting 9.7, that should mean that we don't actually need more solar panels, we just need more accumulators. Yeah, it's just dividing green and blue kind. So technically speaking, we could even, like, for example, cut this line here. Not sure where to start with it, let's say that. But if we just do like this here, that saves up a lot of solar panels and is actually helpful for our grid. So I'm gonna do that again, let's say here. And then bam, 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 and we'll see what that ends up doing to our little bar graph there. Okay, lots of stuff produced. This is going fine. These are not getting speed modules. These are not getting greens. Greens are not coming from here because they're not getting copper cable. They're not getting copper cable because of reasons. Like before I did... No, this is the lower one. No, this is the top one. Because there's two different kinds. Okay, these ones are all on a blue line. It's nice. And they're coming directly from foundries. These ones, also from foundries, but they're going through this, which is not a blue line at all. And frankly, if I just turned this into a blue line, it would not help. Consumption is just really high. So I would have to do blue on all of these. Which is, of course, a bit unfortunate. But what can you do? We have enough for it. Let's go ahead and say through here. That may be excessive. Maybe it could just be... Pass those four, and then the rest will be fine. Who knows? But blue in logistics, we have like 100 at least, right? A few hundred, maybe? Looking for the express transport belts. Man, I hate this color. I looked at to see if you could actually change this color. Oh, you can zoom in. I like that. Gives you less of a headache. But I am not seeing express transport belts in the system. Yeah, they're not there. Now, I remember making my little side patch of pieces. Not here, because the lubricant didn't exist at the time, so it must have been right here. And part of that process was to try to get blue belts. but it doesn't have gear wheels. Gear wheels are not in the system cleanly. Quick method would be to put it in through this. So I know that, well, this one's not even... This one's not yellow. Like, if the yellow dot was chilling here, sure. But clearly it's got plenty of work to do, so we'll do it to here. Okay. Yeah, because this one's definitely not doing anything right now. But yeah, so we'll get the iron gear wheels, which will make the blue belts, which will make the upgrades that will allow these greens to get more copper cables, and everything's interconnected in weird ways, and it's going to be just fine. I guess I screwed up the power line here, based on where I put my robo. Unfortunately, there's not as much flexibility with how robos go, because it does interact with all the other stuff. So let's say we put one thing here. This, it's like, yeah, it connects here, but now it doesn't connect to the next thing. End of the day, the logistics are still connected, just in a more roundabout way, perhaps. So we're gonna just have to accept this for what it is. There we go. Still 129 solar panels. But these are full. So that extra electricity boost means we really could just cut off a huge chunk of these. Let's try that mouse wheel. Is it shift mouse wheel? Yeah, shift mouse wheel when you have control V selected lets you go through past copy paste, which is really nice. I haven't used it a lot myself, but it definitely seems like it creates a lot of value. Not value, but like quality of life, I guess, perhaps. Either way. We'll just do that. And that will put a lot more solar panels for free. And the rest will get built. And it'll be great. Actually, is it saying that we're out of accumulators too? Because we had so many in the system beforehand, but I could see why it would run out pretty quick. Yeah. They'll get there when they get there. Until then. Oh, I'm just realizing this bus is going to suck. We can probably just torch this. Maybe the entire line? We'll worry about it later. We're not building anything else right now. We'll deal with it when we need to. So long as we can self-propagate with the machines, that's really what the goal is. And we've got roboports, we've got all the boxes, we've got the substations. Don't have big electric poles. Not sure how much that'll matter to me, though. I can always just spread more substations, I think. It's like, big electric would only be if I'm trying to, like, navigate over here, and I still think I need to be here to kill the worms. That, I think, isn't super negotiable right now. Alright, how we doing on our loading? These guys are missing blue circuits, which are missing the green, which are missing the copper cable, which are missing the blue belts, which I'm pulling now from my inventory to make happen. I could just build that one. Hopefully that will help in terms of getting more out. I did do this second line here. This one's still a pretty full blue line. And as we can see, it is getting more to the bottom. But it's not all the way there. Yeah, I'm trying to think if it actually would be viable for me to do like another resupply line at some point. I mean, at the very least, I don't think this would hurt, right? Oh, this is going the wrong way. Well, then it will hurt, but at the very least, I don't think it would be bad for me to do something like this. Because clearly, like, there's a lot being taken off on the side and just not enough getting through. So seeing something like that, or, you know, of course, something like this. Rocket. It almost sounded like thunder. I thought a thunderstorm was happening on Volcano Land. There's another one that's kind of like that. I like to think of it as the Proton, like the Protoss homeworld. Like, if Ire was abandoned, there's like supposed to be some kind of like ancient artifacts and electricity in the air, like storm surge, like Eye of the Storm kind of stuff. Should be pretty hype, but hang on, we're just making blues. As we can. The other ingredients looking good though. Everything but blue. Oh yeah, this is not actually sending blue up. Oh yeah, I forgot. This entire bottom part is all yellowed out because we're not actually sending the blue. We're using it for the modules and stuff. So what might be better, it's definitely better at this point because modules are not in significant demand compared to when we first made this setup, is to now do this. We can still do output priority right. I think that's okay. But what I'd much rather do is something like this. And you send them up instead of the other way around. Or since this is a right and left side, technically it's better if you do something like this. There. But it doesn't honestly make a difference. Alright. So that at least reserve of blue is in a good spot, and more importantly, I think it's actually just utilizing both sets of machines for it. Doing pretty well. Because we're yellowed out on both green and red, I do believe beacons with speed would assist here. We didn't really leave room for it because we're not really used to planning around beacons. But there is a little spot here for at least a little bit of beaconage. That's definitely not how you would say it, but whatever. Blip blip, and you get a little speed. Not a ton, but a little bit. Yeah, there's really not another spot because you need 3 and a lot of the design. I mean, you could always do something like put the reds here on the further on the outside, and then you can create that space. You just have to be a bit more intentional about it. And then, you know, these guys are weird too, right? So we have to do this, 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 and that's still not 3, guys. Like, because every 3 you need 2. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, no. I think just by design it's not going to fit, and that's okay. At the end of the day, we should be able to work with what we have. The big thing is we have the resources flowing the way they're supposed to, which is important. Okay, so good, good, good. They're getting their ingredients. They're making things happen. Back to the orbiter. Might be nearly full on inventory. We got to watch that. Here it is. And no, it's actually doing okay. The biggest thing is going to be these piercing rounds. Yeah, because I'm like looking for 20 stacks, and that's, you know, 2 horizontal lines here. So we will need a bit more, and we don't even necessarily have good space for our cargo bay, but we can always just destroy a solar panel, right? Yeah, we can just clear this area out, and it'll be fine. And I send a cargo bay up. Just need some LDS. I was going to pull right off the line here, but that would give me a lot of rocket fuel I don't care for. So let's go right here. Easy peasy. 2 quick builds. We'll throw this on a rocket. It'll be great. Rocket capacity. The annoying thing is, without a manual rocket silo, I do have to like basically go up here and request it. Because if I'm just putting this in from my inventory, it'll complain at me, right? Says no. And then if I do this, then it's only partially filled. I'll say automatic request. No, sir. Get that out of my trash slot. All right. So the best solution is honestly just to request it up here, which is, not my favorite thing, but it's okay. We can just remove that after. But now I just have to put this in a chest, like here. One of you guys take this up? Oh, there it is. No. I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe they just don't have, because the rockets haven't been made yet, it doesn't really matter what's in the requests. They don't decide until the rockets come up. And on that note, I've done this before. Oh gosh, that's not the blueprint. I've done beacons before in this area. I think it could definitely be helpful here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Bam, bam. 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 And clears some space. And then some speed in here, some speed in here, some speed in here. All right, cargo bay has still not been sent, but it's got a lot of requests to get through. So who knows? Last time it did take quite a while for the rockets to fill up, albeit it was with one rocket silo for most of it, second rocket silo only coming in later. And there's a lot of decision making to kind of work through. But, overall, still a pretty good deal. All right. So we're good on solar panels. Looks like last few coming in. And then just a lot of the batteries being made now. Yeah, I guess I could have started this process a bit earlier, the loading part, I mean. But it's going to be okay. Rocket fuel missing. Oh, this might be a underground belt issue. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's not the case, but... Yeah, you can't expect the auto-replace function or whatever to be like God mode. You still have to make intelligent decisions about how you place things. In this case, there's no way for those components to reach. We can try blue, but I'm skeptical even that will manage it. Here. Yeah, it's actually capped out here too. So 1, 2, 3. Yep. That's all you're going to get out of that one. Meaning we've just got to cut our losses and say, here you go. We can always beacon on the opposite side. That's where less complication is, so. Wow, that actually hits. That's crazy. All right, so this one is beacon times 3, beacon times 6, beacon times 3. All good. So this one will be loading very fast rocket parts. Basically, just the entire time it takes to build the animation is the time it takes to fill the rocket, which is great. I do need those cargo bays because we are going to need to actually have the inventory slots for everything we've requested. So it's possible we want to put this one on hold or just I'll go ahead and say... Let's just go ahead and dump that for now, and that way it should auto set up with the others first. And then we'll just fill it with whatever we can in terms of ammunition. So, what's your deal? Do the thing, huh? Automatic requests from space platforms. Rocket inventory. Okay, so there is an issue for sure. Well, why is this called... Did I just type the wrong name? Not that it matters at all, but what? Okay. Not enough to fill one rocket. Then, you know, consolidate. Okay, so it's 3 are satisfied, and it's saying this is kind of strange. Isn't 50 the rocket capacity? Do I already have some up here that I'm not seeing? That doesn't make sense. Something I'm missing for sure. Alright, and obviously cargo bay is not enough either. But you could just make like a smaller request of random ammo? I don't know. Oopsie. I think I just launched a few. Not too many, but a few that I would have otherwise had up here, which is a bit sad. And we already have the 100, so let's try that again. Yeah, that looks more right. But if they're just gonna fill... I think it's just too awkward, and I'm just gonna need to manually do one of these, is the bottom line. Couple of cargo bays going up. And then... some turrets. Do I bring the good ones? I don't know. I think this is pretty useful to have on Vulcanus against those worms, so... that should do it. That wasn't so hard, huh? And now once it begins its launch pattern, now I can do automatic requests, and I can fix whatever I was doing up down bottom. Up top. Wherever. There's no down in space. So we got that, we got that. We'll expand that to what we actually wanted, which is, you know, 1,500 might be more reasonable, but we definitely want a lot. So 3,000 orange juice, is that going to be enough to get all the key text that we're looking for? Let's see. The big one being... well, I thought this was interesting. Asteroid reprocessing, so that's 500. Then, what's recycling require? Fulgora stuff. I think Gleba is the one that people complain about. I don't know. $2,000 for speed 3. Not that I really need it, but 500 for green. The fastest belts alive. We've never even seen it. A belt's that fast. Does require tungsten. Okay. And it has to be... the green belts have to be crafted on a Vulcanus. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's not too hard for us to do that, but it is, you know, one extra thing that has to be transported across the stars. Cliff explosives can be made anywhere, though, right? Beautiful. And that's 500. That's the big thing. So it's like, you know, 2,500, 3,000... it's kind of your ideal here. Anything else? Oh, yeah, 3,500. And let's say this as well. I haven't looked at it too much, but I think this is a lot better, whatever it is. So let's say a nice 4,000. And we are currently bringing 3,000. So yeah, let's just modify that to 4,000. For now. And then obviously we can adjust that later. But we do have these cargo bays. We're going to use them. I think it's just the visual there, but it is kind of being awkward about it. No, it's actually jumping up too. I guess it can only be, it's like rails. It can only be on even tiles or something based on how it like connects. Either way, it'll be fine to just do this and this, right? Now, can you put them here? Yeah, you're going to keep on expanding that as needed, but hoping this will be enough. And then there was like one of these and one of these. Green? Green. But it doesn't seem to want to pull ammo from the cargo bays. I think I ran into this issue before with this guy. So maybe that doesn't count. End of the day, we'll figure it out. But that can be a bit awkward, right? I like the slots though. That's very helpful. That'll help. And yeah, now we're just kind of throwing up ammunition, and we can work on the design while that we're kind of waiting for that to come through. It's going to take a little while, rocket by rocket. But if we're happy with everything down here, we can turn our attention elsewhere. All right, we did have a little hiccup on the recording. Turns out that I did not have enough hard drive space to wrap this one up, so had to go ahead and clear some things out. It has been a little bit of more time passed on my side than on yours, but we can get right back to it. A few things that I want to jump into real quick. One of them I think is rather important. We're waiting on the red magazines, which is problematic because you see they're not actually working. We need to go ahead and turn this box into a red passive provider chest. That will be what allows it to actually get to the rockets. And the rockets themselves aren't really chugging along this because we're missing some rocket fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and try to expand on what we have going on down here with this setup. So we can kind of move the satellite out of the way. Make sure we're not going into a red zone again. And then once we clear that out, we have a lot more space to work with. So we could just kind of continue to copy paste this, move it along. But like I said, I did like the setup that I had on Novice. Oh, just fire. It's fine. Yeah, so I do want to kind of look at that real quick. It's pretty simple. Just it was like the double lane setup, right? So if you see right here, yeah, basically you just have to know your ratio of how many you're putting in, taking out. This might be different if we're using assembly machine 3s, because chemical plants aren't getting upgraded, but the assembly machine 3s would be. But at least for right now, we can go ahead and pull this and reference that here in a second as we, move this on out. So it even has a better setup for offloading like excess and making it so that it's not all about that setup. I guess we can go ahead and do a horizontal flip since this is going to be going to the left and be happy with that. We can even mirror it with the petroleum here. Not sure it's going to be best to actually line it up side by side, but we can, with a little bit of breathing room, feel comfortable with that right here. Let's just go down 2, stick with what we had before. But yeah, this is the idea. And then connect this here. And then as far as, filters go, we can go ahead and have it more like this. Have the output priority on the left side. And then just, if this is full, then it'll go into the chest, which is cool. And here we're trying to pick up the last little bits of excess that we can always just put somewhere else, right? Okay. So this, of course, is limited by the fact that it's not directly connected to the fuel line, but we'll go ahead and take care of that, and then it'll all be lovely. That feels off to me. I think this is more accurate, so... Boom. And there we go. So that's the same amount that we had before, but like I said, we could easily expand on this rapidly. So we can go ahead and double that amount right now. And then double over here as well. Obviously, we only have so much light oil to work with, but this feels like a good response so far, just to get things moving the right direction again. So yeah, 8 here, 4 there. You could go further with this, but let's just kind of see how this one saturates and go from there, I'd say. Yeah, like I said, I could go for the assembling machine 3s, which doesn't... yeah, I have 98 of those, so... yeah, I'm curious how this would affect the ratios. Okay, now we're taking in 0.08, or we're outputting 0.08. We're taking in 0.83, and this is sending out 1. So basically this needs a chemical plant for... the math is not even, but these are running 83% of the rate, as these are, in terms of input-output on the solid fuel. So, you know, if I had... oh, out of ammo. Of course. The orbiter, we're almost ready to fully engage with the orbiter and allow it to take us off the planet. But for the moment, I'm surprised it doesn't actually... yeah, it should need a refuel for some of the others. That one's automated. That one's had half. And then... yeah, these two could use it as well. Okay, sure. Alright. Getting a little weird as we kind of move things around there. But yeah, now we basically just need more of these to make it happen. It used to be... if it went to 75 instead of 0.83, this would be enough, because 50% increase. But I think we actually need one more because of the whole ratio side of things. So we'll go ahead and do that. Should be great. And it's all working out so far. Obviously, that only assumes that we actually can utilize that much light oil, which you might quickly see this starting to go down as we expend more. But, you know, at the end of the day, we also have quite a bit of heavy oil banked up and so on. So, yeah, maybe this will work out. It'll burn out a lot of coal, most likely. We'll see if we have enough. We did kind of split the lines here, so it should be okay for a while. Alrighty. So, looking good otherwise. Maybe we can, you know, do a little remodeling with this chest. Probably going to be near full, or, you know, 2/3 of the way there. So, yeah, if we can just spin on this and find a good spot for it. You know, over here is good. Basically everything leading up to the space area would be really nice. It's usually the kind of stuff I could also do between episodes, as it's not the most essential thing. It's as much aesthetic as it is function. But, you know, it's nice to see that in action every once in a while, so we'll see what we can do to make that the case. Okay, we'll stop there just so we don't have too many flashy lights like we've had the issue with for our battery supplies. But our power is doing great, I believe. As you can see here, accumulator charge is staying well above 60%. So we can kind of feel comfortable with that and send in the swarm robots to do their thing. All right, so hopefully we're going to be getting some more rocket fuel down the line shortly. Did I break the line where it's not even sending? It looks okay. It's just taking its time. There's a mild delay as we were catching up after destroying the entire setup. But right now it's all green. They're not saying that they don't have supply. In fact, it's starting to kind of build up a little bit. So maybe we're in a good hands, good spot. Alrighty. Now, we should have this. Yeah, this thing is sending items up. Our current requests for the orbiter right now are to fulfill 1,500 rounds, where we have, it looks like, about 750. So just half of that. and everything else is satisfied. So I think it's a good chance for us just to do some redesign work on the orbiter itself. I did save the blueprint. I'm not sure if it's something I want to directly place onto here. I don't think that's the case, as it seems to not want to be moved around. Is it got snapping activated, or is it just because it's because it all revolves around this core piece here, the hub. So basically there's no way that a space platform blueprint could be, you know, it could be rotated probably, but it certainly can't be moved around otherwise. Yeah, you can. Okay, you can't even horizontal flip thrusters, which is interesting. Obviously, the vertical flip makes total sense, but either way, yeah, here we are. This is what we had before. I don't think I'm going to just, like, throw it down, but I do think it's a good point of reference for where we were at when we were able to tackle all the pressure that the system was putting out in terms of the asteroids going through space. So we're going to try to emulate that a bit. I don't think I need to mess around with space science right now. I have I would assume a decent quantity down on the planet surface, but it is worth a double check, as if we need space science, we should get cooking right now, I'd say. Back over. I know it's by these labs. It's just been a little while, and everything starts to blend together a little bit. There it is over here. All right, so we actually only have just over 1,000 here, but then we have, you know, this entire conveyor belt full. I'm trying to remember exactly how many raw items are on. It looks like, you know, roughly 4 on each of these, and you can kind of just say that it's about 150 plus. So yeah, you could say there's like 600 here, there's 1,000 here, 1,600 is nice, but we're looking at 4,000 for orange, and I'm assuming it's gonna be that much for the space science as well. So we're actually gonna have to redo that. The question is the orbiter gonna be our shipping back and forth between Vulcanus, or is it gonna be our, you know, orbiter that kind of lives and produces the space science as needed? I guess, you know, either way, we're going to need a second space station. For right now, we can keep this one as a hybrid model, but yeah, we're going to want to be adjusting things as time goes by. These batteries aren't really that necessary. They're really just there to try to normalize the energy flow for the turrets, which very well might be hopeless in the sense that it's just like, it's going to take, there's going to be some power flux either way. I'm not too sure, but we're just going to do this. And then, you know, we can use this area once again for thrusters, for space science, etc. But I think we kind of want to fundamentally revisit how we look at how the asteroids move throughout the system. Like, I have an idea for like a big loop that I want to try out. But one thing to keep in mind is there is a tech that we should be getting, I think, fairly soon. Asteroid reprocessing will be coming in as one of our first tech options after we bring in metallurgic to Novice. And what that does is allows you to inefficiently use the crusher to crush the most excess of asteroids into chunks of itself, as well as the other 2 variations. Basically, if you're at like fully flush with one, you can put it in this thing, and it's gonna make sure that it doesn't cap or like block off the entire system. Almost makes you think like a sushi belt system could work, but I do believe that what we want to be doing is a bit different than that. So I'll think about it for a second here. I'll pause real quick and see if I can conjure up some of the designs that I was kind of partially implementing in my head before we got to this point. All right, so I played around with a couple ideas and tried to expand on what I had in my head to see if it might work. But obviously we don't have a lot of materials up here, and it's hard to work around with just ghosts, so I decided to make a little mini version of it back here in Vulcanus. So if this is the hub, and we have like this big loop going around, you'd have like this would go to the make the plates and stuff like that, and then it would go into the appropriate thruster fuel for iron ore, you know? And then the carbon would instead... Does carbon just go into science packs, or is there another purpose for it? I actually kind of forgot. I'll have to Factoriopedia check that real quick. But, you know, we'll have it go into its thing and do what it needs to do. It is used in science packs and the thruster fuel, of course. So it'll go to those two things, and then the ice will just be melted down into water, which will be an essential part of things as well. The idea here is that you'll have your three off ramps, you know, wherever they may be. It doesn't really matter that much. The important part is that you have a circuit that's reading contents where the items lie on the actual line. And what we could do is effectively make a sushi belt. Instead of having to try to do like a triple belt all around the world, you know, underground belt through past everything, yada yada, which, you know, you can do, but doesn't fully take advantage of this, in my mind at least. Doesn't fully. I'm sure there's a way to do it, and people have done it, but this asteroid reprocessing allows you to kind of put it all back together. So what I'm thinking is a setup where, you know, you have your three different collectors. You have, you know, this would be iron, the metallics, this would be the water one, this would be the carbon one. They'd go into here. You don't actually need this particular filter setup. This would be if they're full, which, you know, at the beginning they are kind of full right now, as you can see here. Then they would go and relatively evenly come out on the line. But what's most important is what happens long term. What happens long term is they're all going to be hooked up to the red wire circuit, and they're going to have an enable disable condition. Where they get the data for that is actually going to be from a few of these read belt contents. Now, I didn't understand exactly what this hold all belts thing meant. It basically means you see these yellow lines set up here. This is, you don't have to just like make a red wire connection for every single one and be like, hold, give me info, give me info, give me info. It basically just says everything in the line as up to this point here, as you can see from the yellow outline, is being read. If I turn this off, it gets rid of the yellow outline. And the break points for those, what I would say belt segments, would be splitters, or if you're like side loading. Those don't count as part of it. Interesting, they even have the little, like, it kind of loops up over it. It has kind of a 3D effect on it. There's even a shadow. Wow, they smart guys here. Anywho, so yeah, they made a very good visual reference, so that even if this tooltip is gibberish to me, I was able to kind of figure it out and test it to double check. If you have this setting set for 2 in the same segment, then you're going to get that reading twice. So you have to kind of make sure that you're only getting it from one from each splitter segment. And if you make adjustments, maybe you have to go back on that. But my idea is that if you have an idea of, let's say this has 3,000 capacity of items, this random number, then you'll want it set so that these belts can only add their specific item to the system when there's less than 1,000 of that item in. And so basically it just makes sure that there's roughly 1/3 of the belt is occupied by that item. And when it gets past all the off ramps, it gets past the iron off ramp, it gets past the water off ramp, the carbon off ramp, then what you can do is set up your little asteroid reprocessing and make it so that it takes it off the line, just puts it right back on the line, and you get yourself add some extra space on the line, because it is going to be reducing the count of whatever materials pass by here by 20%, but it's also going to be not filtering, it's going to be like balancing effectively so that the line never gets too full of one thing. So if you have incoming of 800 ice and only 200 metallic and carbon, that'll get sorted out right around here. maybe based on the processing speed of the crusher, you might need more or less of those, but that's the idea I'm going with for now. Is basically beforehand you never had a lot of ways of like when it gets capped, sushi belt doesn't work ever because the line is full. But I don't know, I like the idea of doing that instead of like doing 3 separate lines, getting, you know, tangled up and using up a bunch of space. I think this can work, and so I'm gonna try it. And if it doesn't, then whatever. Obviously, only these turrets can be possibly ammo fueled. These would be manually, but well, on the northern side, it's going to be some heat, so maybe we'll go with this method. This is just a general idea, but I gave it some thought, and you can tell I didn't copy it because I don't think most people would come up with something so like technically optimal, but also just obtuse and annoying and weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just bad, but I'm gonna try it. I'm excited about it because trying new ideas is exciting. So we'll go ahead and load back up to where we were, and then we will see what we can do on that front. So yes, we do have a certain amount of asteroid collectors, a certain amount of this. One thing that we're going to be lacking a lot of actually is going to be transport belts. We need to be setting some transport belts up top in order to accommodate all this stuff that we just kind of decided on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and instead fill this inventory with what it's going to end up being a lot of those as they come along. We're still kind of lacking on the side of the rocket fuel. So we'll go ahead and take a look over here at our light oil is still fine. I guess we can definitely expand on this. There's no reason not to just at least replicate this a few times because we have a bit of a buffer of solid fuel material. And then it looks like we'll need, you know, 1 more of these and that should cover it, but maybe 2. We'll see. Yeah, for right now we'll do that. And I suppose as we go along, we could also consider this all within range of robots. Cool. We could also consider, I mean, this isn't hard to move. I can just go ahead and pick that up and scooch it over or whatever, but yeah, over here. And then that'll expand the space that I have to work with over there. So could even do a red inserter here. I like that splitter. Why'd the splitter not go? I guess because it's a... Okay, so we do this, or we just do this. So we do force this and tell this to do that, and then here, and then red. And then we get the splitter set up properly. Output priority left. Cool. And now we can red over to this random passive provider. I'm not seeing the output priority. I guess it's just hidden, obscured here, which is fine. At the end of the day, it's still set to it. But yeah, I was thinking we could use that extra space now to do whatever we need to do. This is backwards, so we can fix that. It'll just be bam, bam. And now start, building on what we already set up here. Technically, you could also do a vertical reverse, but with the substation in position, it could be annoying. I'd rather move everything up a bunch so that I don't have to deal with the substations. But as it stands, I don't think we're going to go much past what we already see. So looks like we're out of chemical plants, unfortunately. But otherwise, in a good spot. So we'll see how that affects the production flow as we get a few more of those chemical plants online. And 1 of these here. Cool. Yeah, they're eating it up now. These guys aren't even getting sufficient, so we'll definitely want a few more of these. Cool. And like I said, worst case scenario, we could even like vertical flip this, and there'll be plenty of space there. Yeah, if I had to move this up, this is how many? 4, 5, 6. And then this 7 would be mirrored because you're using it twice. So yeah, just 6 extra spaces, which we do have up here. Not really though, because the light oil. Yeah, I don't think it actually would work because the light oil would clash with that. We do have one space down here. Okay, it could work if we really have to overhaul this in terms of how much throughput it can have. But at the end of the day, you're still going to need enough light oil to support all that. And as I assumed before, we were going to start running out, but we're still doing fine. Either way, right now it's a good amount. If we need more, we can literally double it. It'll just take some work. Hopefully the rockets can just, figure their stuff out, right? Okay, yeah, we want that up, and then we can add more shortly. Yeah, I got 2 rockets ready there. Got 1 rocket ready here, 1 here. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it right now. We got plenty of stuff to do along the way that we might just take time waiting for it to figure itself out. Oh, I did notice that I had a small issue here where this robo was actually out of range, and we want to fix that real quick. It's the same problem here. Is this one fine? This one's fine because this one's further to the left for some reason. It all works out. It's fine. Alrighty, so I guess as long as we're continuing to put the materials we need up top, then we can work on the space platform as we kind of planned. So I guess whenever I just remove this, it will destroy all of the waiting asteroid pieces, which kind of would be unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we're kind of looking for something that's sustainable in the sense that it can make use of the asteroids it encounters as time goes by, rather than just stockpiling a bunch. So let's go ahead and just try to get more headroom here. We already recognize a mistake that we made with the previous blueprint in terms of the turrets. And now we're kind of making sure that our asteroids are going to be on top of that. So like I said, there are some things down here that we can kind of... Oh, it's not here anymore, obviously. Maybe I should have, I wonder if it's an autosave still. Let me pause real quick. Right, it is not, so we are going to be rebuilding our idea from scratch, but, the important part was getting the outline, and once you go from there, once you have the idea, then you can put together the pieces you need. So we want a turret line. What kind of turrets do we have up here anyways? Well, plenty of commons, so... Novice is being hit. They're killing the tank. Defend yourself. All right. Yeah, laser turret, laser turret, laser turret. Sure. That could be too far away. Should be nearby. Yeah, just spam repairs. It'll work out. Oh gosh, they are just in here. They hit the cars. What did this car do? He's just chilling on a conveyor belt, dying and losing his rocket fuel. Lasers, please. Okay, well, hopefully they'll get there soon, because they just... Where's my car? It's just gone. There we go. Okay. it's actually, the bots are coded to replace that, which is interesting. So I also said that you could like remote drive vehicles. I didn't know that. That's very cool. So I guess I could have... Well, can I shoot? I have armaments. C. All right, I can shoot. So yeah, that could have been a solution, or just driving over them as well. But, you know, live and learn. We'll go ahead and hop out of there. Yeah, maybe next time I encounter some fighters, I can do something along those lines. But for right now, focused on where the activity is at, we'll go ahead and continue to... We'll just bring up a full set. Hopefully we don't need too much more space, platform space itself, but we will learn soon. Okay, so these are not filtered as well. We're gonna have to filter these as is. Boom, boom, boom. But not the end of the world. We can clear those out. And then, yeah, we now have the turrets that we can put up here. That can go right underneath, no problem. Yeah, and do that here. And then we would need something right here, right? So it would be more like this at that location. And then if we can just do this, we can do it like here. Is the idea. We will see if it works. And that would leave enough space for this here. Okay. So with these gone, we could then do a conveyor belt here. Again, it's got to be bulk. Oh, you got 4, so I guess... Yeah, we'll just do it this way. And this would be an ammunition belt that goes all the way around to refill all of the turrets. I guess if it's going to be patrolling back and forth with stations and continuous there, we probably can't just rely on a setup where we have turrets up here that can't be helped. I mean, you can still put it up here and then change up your setup a little bit where it goes like this. But at the end of the day, yeah, you still have to work with what you got. Okay. We can fit an extra couple in, maybe? Yeah, that's about all you can do. That's okay, that's something. And again, okay. Yeah, in the meantime, this is all to make sure that we are getting this stuff here lined up properly. Obviously, we're having some power issues with the lasers and such. Let's make sure we don't compromise on our own setup here, just to get our new prototype online. We can always preload these with some yellow ammo. Nothing, no harm there. Okay, good enough. Now, okay, so now this setup is here. If I do this on this side, does it screw up? One thing I'm worried about is the inserters putting them on the wrong side, so I think it's going to be okay. So I think I had it where this one splits first, then they do this, and then they make it there. So technically speaking, it would be better if everything came up, but we also have to get rid of all this stuff anyway, so let's go ahead and do that. Cargo bay is still okay for right now. And then it would go to this. And then it would go here, and then this would be the line. Okay. Technically, there's space. If I have to, I obviously can move everything north. But if this was the line just north of the hub, then it could work. Again, clearing out a lot of existing pieces. And then, yeah, you would just rinse and repeat right here. Apparently, we need a lot of splitters. So I'm going to go ahead and put all that in there right now. Build new space platform? No, that's not the plan. Don't you need like a whole starter kit for that? Like, what is that? Why does he have that option and the others don't? Because it automatic request. Oh, so it could automatically request a constructor kit. Okay. That's fine. Oh, wait, are we full on ammo now? Are we good up there? We got some good ammo counts. All right. Okay. I meant to like say, okay, we can just expand on that a bit and make it like 2,000. That's, I don't even want to get into that stuff, but it looks pretty cool. And technically we could, you know, speed this along by requesting a little bit more in terms of the like conveyor belts and stuff. So if we have like a request of a few hundred more of those, then maybe it'll automate itself, and that will be a nice clean way of making things move. But that's assuming they're in the red belts, red boxes, which they are, and it's all gonna be good. All right, our fuel seems to be doing better, which is great. And yeah, technically this is just a rinse and repeat, though obviously we still want to like do the setup where these don't activate unless the conditions are met. Oh, and it wasn't going to be this one that actually... It's going to be more like this here, I think. All right. So it's more like... I'd say it probably makes sense to cut the same vertical position here. And yeah, those three would be dependent on the circuit. All right, I mean, that's looking good to me in terms of, you know, getting what we were looking for. I was trying to think if I move this all to the left, I can squeeze in one more turret here, but then it just subtracts one turret here. So at the end of the day, it's about the same. Let's just instead do that. And then, you know, it's basically just copy pasting from there, right? Until we have to hit a turn. So obviously there's a lot to tear down here, but we have the raw materials already kind of sorted out on the lines. I'm confident that we have the fuel that we need, and so it will only be limiting science production, which is something that we can, you know, work with. Is it possible we even get more resources by traveling back and forth rather than expending? I really couldn't tell you the fuel versus asteroid aspect, but you know, if it's a big enough platform and you're using your collectors correctly, maybe you're actually gaining resources from this whole process. Who knows? I guess the fuel is still, I mean, the ammo is still a factor for sure. Like, as much as I'm trying to prep for like the journey back with all this red ammo, you're gonna have to be okay with just the basic stuff, since you're not gonna have the copper you need for the red ammo, which I believe is the case. Let's see here, yeah. Alrighty, so this doesn't look right at all. It looks like we didn't do the override. Let's do the override. Boom. And so the idea would be then it would pass through this setup, this here. The other way, guys, come on. And yeah, you just be doing a big rectangle all the way around. Not needing the turrets on the south side, as far as I can tell. Just west, east, and north. And this still needs something here. We'll just add that last bit there after the fact. Yeah, so I think that sounds pretty good to me. Obviously, we don't actually get to see how like effective it is until we make some moves, but I like the idea. I haven't had a very successful sushi belt like ever. I basically realized that was a terrible thing to do very early on, as it just got completely clogged up, but I think this may be an exception, and I'm excited to try it. It takes more like technical setup to get it implemented, but once you get there, I think it could be pretty cool. I guess that's an interesting question. Do we care? Couldn't we just set it here? No, because it has to do the splitter part. I mean, does it? I would say so. There's like priorities that you could do to keep things moving. I'm not actually sure which one of the two I want to prioritize right now, but you know, it's one of them. So let's say here makes the most sense. And then we can set it up here, have a splitter here, and fumble my hotkeys. All right. You know, it's a rinse and repeat where we're going to probably need some more of these asteroid collectors, but you know, so far, making things happen. Does this include the space for these, though? Or does that come later? Oh, yeah, that's like something that would go here, here, here. Okay, can't do the corner one, but that should be fine anyways. Again, with this, I gotta just hit the Z key a couple times. That'll give me my bulk inserters for my space building presets. And that's not at all what I wanted. Can we just... Okay, I'm getting rid of that, and I'm putting that there for now. But then, yeah, it's gonna be annoying because I don't have underground belts, and all this stuff could just get scooched around a little bit. Main thing is the bulk inserter needs to change, but yeah. Hopefully I have enough space platforms. Yeah, this is, you know, a whole process to design this, but I mean, this is something we could reuse on every single one of our automated asteroid stations, in theory. So hopefully we can get something out of this. And then, yeah, this would go here, continue on its way around, and repeat. Something scalable is what you really want. And it's also important just to be happy with your designs. Find them unique and interesting enough to make them all work. But also, I'll do this for measurement's sake. Yeah, they need to be functional, but they also need to be, you know, yours. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with using other people's ideas and blueprints or taking inspiration from what other people have done, but man, when you can just solve it in your own way, uniquely, it just feels that much better. So I'm into it. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more work to get there, but already I'm seeing it. I'm not sure if you guys are yet. I think it's my biggest issue. I'm seeing where this will lead, and I think it will be very functional, very cool, but I could also see other people looking at this and being like, this is just complete gibberish. What are you even doing? I don't know. I mean, like, and also, like, it's taking up enough space that couldn't you just do your 3 lines? Are you really just saving belts? Is there something more to it? I don't know. We will see, I guess. But we are going to be needing a little bit more from these other bits here. And then another setup similar to that. And it should be like... These were separated by, what, 5 blocks? Which I believe was ideal, so... Let's go ahead and do that. And then in theory... go again. Yeah, I think I just need to standardize what I'm doing with the turrets so that I'm not, like, piecemealing it and I can literally just slap it down, Technically, the best way to scale it is to make a design that you can just run over and over and over. As far as these space components, I am going to be needing to make some asteroid collectors with the electronic engine units. Electronic or electric? Electric engine units. Which are 2 locations now. Most recently here. And feeding into the robots. So we could utilize that, but we also have to find a few more pieces because we would want to make it alongside processing units and LDSs. Low densities are coming from here. Processing's over here. These are both, rocket components. So there's some similarities there. Actually, we're not running blue right now because we're not running green. We're not running green because we don't have iron. We don't have iron because our molten iron is too low. Our molten iron is too low because of reasons. We're good on power, right? No flux there. Yeah, we just need more. That's what it comes down to. I guess we could also replace the modules. This is only shifting energy consumption, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but yeah. If we could relocate this copper outlet, then we could place this here. And it would still be able to get bulk insertion right here, which is nice. I don't know. I guess it's got the command. It just needs to put it in. There we go. And then, yeah, we need underground belt action here. Underground pipe, whatever you call it. Oh, and then it needs to be able to get the calcite or whatever this is called. Yep. And right now it's getting it from there, which means we should probably do this. And then do like a splitter thing here to then pull that on here. All right. Not the most awkward thing I've done. Does, however, have this issue. Okay, well... What if we just... Does this need to be blue? Why is this blue? Alright. And that will give us plenty of space for that. And barring some random modules, I think we're in a good spot there. So that'll increase our molten iron flow. Just gonna get backed up here in a second. Yeah. Not going anywhere until these bots finish what they were doing. Now skillful connections tend to be the most important. Alrighty. So, molten iron will speed up. The green circuits will be back online. The blue circuits will be back on, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, I was saying that if I have blue and electric units and the LDSs all in the same place, I can make these asteroid collectors. They are only a 10-second crafting time, so there's a chance I would just want to pull directly. In that case, I could probably just look at the stockpile I have over here, which seems to be very little. There it is. Okay, that's not too bad. So yeah, we can just manually pull, and then might have to wait a little bit for the blues, but it's okay. How many are we actually talking here? 8 is not too bad. We have plenty of low density structures, so just grab some of these. Figured it would try to do that. We're gonna go ahead and avoid that scenario and say that we have the amount that we want. Cool. Curious why it's saying it's not getting enough red. Is that because, well, that I believe is supposed to be the red line, and it's certainly not providing red things right now. It has the strangest combination of items I can surmise. Yeah, because this is the engine units. The drills come from here. The tungsten carbide comes from below. So this is absolutely advanced circuits, except clearly it is not. I mean, maybe if you just pour the juice onto the blue circuits, they turn back into red circuits. It's fine. But for those that want a more technical solution, we could go ahead and figure out what the heck happened to this line that it's doing this now. It is out of range for reasons I cannot fathom, and we're just going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Alrighty, so go ahead and flush this line out of the nonsense and continue our manufacturing of the big drills. Cool. In the meantime, yeah, we were trying to make these. Boom, 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 boom. I can find my own low density structures. Thank you very much. There's plenty of them right here. Well, that did give me some blue chips. I guess that might help in our overall prospecting. Can we make it? Yes, we did it. All right. Yeah, just keep on keeping on, I guess. Whenever it's yellow words, you don't click it. Whenever it isn't, then you do. Suddenly, so many asteroid collectors. It's wonderful. How many can I send up at once is a good question to ask. Raw capacity is 10, so this should be no problem at all. It's going to take a lot of ingredients to build up even more space stuff, but all right, now I'm like, nah, let's get this out of here. We do not need that. But this is a good quantity. We'll go ahead and throw it on the rocket whenever it hits 10. And can we fill this up? There we go. You know, just spread this around a little bit. It's great. Plenty of places to dump our random items. So, we got this set up here. Yeah, the only reason this makes sense at all is because of the asteroid reprocessing, which I haven't even researched yet, but we're trying to forward think. Obviously, I could just do a 3-lane setup that are completely independent, separate lanes. But I like the idea that if I have the asteroid reprocessing, then I could just take off, put back on, and scale it up. and not have to fiddle around with, okay, which thing is going to which belt. Whether that actually saves effort in the long run is quite debatable, but I'm happy with this currently. So. Yeah, you guys got them. Are we? So we're out of space platforms is what I'm seeing. Yikes. Okay, that's gonna be annoying. Maybe it would be better just to get home and then set this up, because on Novice we just have more stuff to work with for right now. Yeah, I think that will be probably the way that I go about it. I like this. I'm keeping this in some way, shape, or form, whether I'm blueprinting it now or going a different road. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is us getting blasted up to the hub and then making sure that we have our defenses ready to fly back over to Novice with our well-earned orange juice. All right, well, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you guys for visiting once again, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. The factory will continue to grow and expand into the great unknown. We're very close to hitting some huge technological jumps, and then even potentially setting our sights on a new planet with all of what we've learned from the last one. Hopefully it's enough to meet that challenge, but for now, we're going to go ahead and call it a night and see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.